Hi, I'm going to show you how to make this little wire and bead dragonfly here. I'm going to start off by showing you how to make the wings. So these are made from goldwork bullion wires. Bullions are spiral bound, very fine, very flexible filaments of wire. They come in very many different colours. So all we're going to do is stretch this out and then we're going to crochet with it. So we're going to crochet these little wings. They come in very many different colours. We've got loads of different colours on the website. They're only $2.99 for a packet, and that will make very, very many pairs of wings. You get 2 meters of bullion, and that will stretch out to very, very many meters. So I'm just going to start off by crocheting a foundation row of 17 chain. So if you've done any crochet before, this really is no different to using any sort of fine yarn or anything that you've used before. So these wires are very, very flexible, and this is where it makes this possible, because they're probably finer than anything you can find elsewhere. So I'm just done my 17 chain. I've missed 2 at the end, and I'm just doing trebles. I think the Americans call these doubles. The English call this stitch a treble. So I'm just doing a treble into each of the foundations there. So that will make a total of 15 trebles until we land up back at the beginning of the foundation chain. So the reason we're using this very fine wire is to obviously give us the lovely fine lacy effect for these little dragonfly wings, and you can make these things into brooches or anything you like. The other reason we need a very fine wire is because when they're made we need to actually poke them through a bead to incorporate them into our dragonfly, and obviously if the filaments are too thick, that's not going to be possible. So I'm just doing treble stitches all the way up to the beginning of this foundation chain. I've reached the beginning again now of my foundation row. I'm just doing 2 chain stitches, and I'm going to do a treble into each of the chain stitches on the foundation row up to the other end where it gets bendy. So I've reached the tip of the wing here, and I'm just going to work 2 trebles into each of the chain on the foundation row here. So we should have about 6 trebles that go around to form the arch on the top of the wing, and then just continue up the other side, putting a treble in every treble that you made previously until you reach the beginning of that foundation chain again. So when you get right back down to the beginning of your foundation chain, you can just put a single stitch or slip stitch and then just pull that through and then wind those wires together, and there's a wing formed. So that's a little wing. Dragonflies have one wing slightly larger than the other on each side, so I've made the larger wing by using a 19 chain foundation. Exactly the same. I've just put exactly the same stitches in exactly the same places, except that there's 2 more of them. So I've selected the beads I'm going to use here. I've got 6 little pearl beads there. I've got 7 of the larger spacer beads. You can see them there in green glass. 3 very large pearls. I've got 2 smaller pearls and 2 seed beads. So I'm just now winding these wire filaments into a tight little cord so that it's going to be easy for me to pass them through a bead. So these filaments are very, very fine. You shouldn't have any trouble working with these at all. They're nice and flexible. So now I've wound these very tightly. I'm just going to chop off at about 1.5 inches and pass it, each set of wings there pass through the centre of a bead. This can be a little bit tricky, but it's definitely doable. Obviously easier if you use a bead with a large core. These are just standard little pearl beads here, and I'm managing to get these through. So you can see I've pulled both of the pairs of wings through there, and that's how the wings are going to sit. I've got some jewellery wire now, and I've just threaded the 2 large beads on. I've got one of the little tiny pearl beads for the eye now, and I'm using a seed bead here. And I'm just going to now thread the wire back through the pearl, avoiding the seed bead, and that will actually form the end of that particular bit, and that will form his eye. So there we have one eye. So I'm going to pull that nice and tight, and then thread through the other pearl and do exactly the same thing with the other turquoise seed beads, so that I've got 2 eyes on the front of this dragonfly. I think 2 is a great number for eyeballs. So just pull that through so that it's nice and tight, and you can see there how the top of his head is going to look. So I'm going to thread both of these pieces of wire through this bead now. So that's going to form his head, and feed the other large bead on as well. Now I'm going to want to thread this wire through the bead with the wings that are already threaded through. Again, this can be a little bit of a tussle, but it is doable. To help yourself, if you pull the bead a little bit towards the end of the filament wires on your wings, and then actually pull your wire through, you'll find it a little bit easier, because pulling on the filaments there will actually help the wire through. So there you go, just give everything a good yank, and there we are. You can leave this this tail wire, just leave that sticking out for now, we'll deal with that later. And you can just wind it around there to finish it off, just wind it around to tie it off. So we can now get on with threading his tail. So we're going to thread these beads alternately. So just work your way up until you've threaded all the beads onto your jewellery wire. So when you've threaded on your last bead, you need to feed the wire up through the rest of the beads, missing the last one obviously, and that will form the end or the tail end of your dragonfly. So just feed the wire all the way up through until you get to the pair of wings if you can. You can actually finish this at any time just by pulling it tight and winding it round a couple of times to finish it off. But I'm trying to be thorough here. I'm going to pull it up as far as I can. So you obviously want this to be nice and tight, and you want the wire pulled up as tight as it can be. And then just finish off by winding around a few times. You can just chop this wire off then when you've wound it a couple of times and you know your dragonfly is not going to fall to pieces. And you can do the same finishing off technique with these filament wires. So as I say, we've got loads of different colours of these. They're only £2.99 for 2 metres of bullion wire, and that's 2 metres coiled. So when you stretch that out very, very many metres, you will get 4 of these little wings out of a very tiny piece, probably about 20 centimetres long, so maybe even less than that. So there's our finished little dragonfly. So these are great to use as embellishments on things as well as bits of jewellery. There he is. So please visit the website. I've got loads of videos for you to watch how to do different things. Come along, have a look, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and get all of our videos as soon as they come out. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon with something else. Bye.